If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson. Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply the Law. I'm Keith Casebolt, my dear friend Gary C. Johnson.
Hey, guys, how you doing? You made it another week. No fights, right? One of you got in a fight? I guarantee one of you got in a fight last week. Because you know why I know that? It popped in my head that you did. Get over it. Anger is doing harm to your body. And remember, last week, we talked about how you need to respect your body, love your body, and take care of it. You said, how can being mad and angry affect my body? High blood pressure, heart rate, all kinds of things. Your body will always follow through on whatever emotion you have. Whether it's good, or you're being happy and laughing, or whether you're sad and you've been in a fight and you're mad. So get over it. It's probably meaningless. The question I've got for you is, will you remember this fight a year from now? How about 6 months from now? How about next month?
Well,
That's how insignificant the fight is, okay?
I can tell you we had friends that remembered last week's show when you said be good to the body, because I had a good friend that came up and said, I'm going to tell Gary that this is abuse of the body, what you've grown here. So they watched last week, and people are taking it seriously. They should take care of their bodies.
When you do anything, remember, am I taking care of the love of my life, which is my body? Period.
Gary, let me ask you a real quick question. You pointed out the stress, the pressure, everything that we do to each other, and you said some of it's not real. What portion is it? I mean, I get it when there's something that goes on traumatic in our life and we feel pain and we hurt, but most of the stuff we just conjure up, don't we? It's the stuff that we think is going to happen, or we assume that it's going to happen.
Most of our agitation in our brain is about stuff that never happens. We worry about things we can't control. We ponder and ponder and ponder things that we cannot do a thing in the world about. We worry about what someone else is doing when we have zero control over them. And the body pays a price for that. The body will want to eat to deal with that agitation. Well, maybe I'll take me a little old pill here or something to do with it, deal with this anxiety that I've got now because of all of these things that I'm worried about that are never going to happen. And the body, it takes a toll on the body. Every time you do it, the body pays a price. You wouldn't, again, like I said last week, you wouldn't do it to your dog. Why would you do it to yourself? Try your best to keep away from messing over your body. Respect it. It's all you got. It has to last you the rest of your life. And hopefully, it'll be in pretty good shape.
So you've pointed out what a miracle the body is. So there's safety valves, there's regulators and all this to take care of all the things that we go through in life. It's only when we take this part of the body, the brain, and we exaggerate those pressures or we mistreat the body that it doesn't regulate, and then we start going for medicine.
I think the good Lord knew when He made us that we would probably not respect our bodies and mistreat them and not love them. I really do. Now, what makes me say that? Well, you can't control your breathing, right? You can't control whether you sweat or not. You can't control your heart rate. Because if you did, how many of you would tell your heart to stop beating? when you got angry or upset? How many of you would say, well, I don't want to smell good, I'm not going to sweat, and kill yourself by not sweating? The good Lord knew we wouldn't do what we're supposed to do. So the things that we had to have to live, He didn't let us have any control over. But it's all the things that you do have control over that I'm talking to you about. Respect your body, take care of your body, and love your body, and you'll be fine. And it'll be fine. That's my whole lecture in regard to the body. I probably won't talk about it anymore, but I might, who knows? Right?
Well, the big lead to it is, I think you told me on the radio program, until you can do what I'm saying for yourself, how are you ever going to do it for anyone else?
You're not. You can't love anyone else unless you love yourself first. That is my theory. And again, folks, I may be totally wrong in everything I'm saying. But if I can get you to think, then I have solved my purpose. Okay? Think. Let's take a break and we'll come back, and Keith and I are going to talk about some stuff.
I got to admit, I think if you will take Gary's advice and you start thinking and you start asking questions, you'll also find it entertaining. But more than that, it's going to be helpful to you in the long run. Stay with us. Gary C. Johnson and Simply the Law will be coming back right after you see this.
People are asking, what is judo law? Judo is a martial art that uses the opponent's strength to defeat them by not opposing it directly. Gary C. Johnson created a method of practicing law based on that principle. It worked so well he named it judo law. To see the results, go to GaryCJohnson.com. To have Gary and his team of judo lawyers go to work for you, dial #HURT. This is an advertisement.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. Gary, last week, for those of you that watched the program, you unveiled a video of a case and an accident that you had. And if you're just watching the program this week for the first time, to me, it was tremendous because the first thing I thought of was a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, if that's true, the video that you had of the accident, the animation last week, it was worth millions of words because I could clearly see what you were explaining that happened in the accident.
Well, some time back, in fact, a long time back, I realized that you can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, but until you have something you can see, it may not make any sense. You know, lawyers can hire people to do animations for them of how a wreck happened and things like that. There's people out there, a lot of people that do that. But I realized early on that the only way I would have the input into it that I needed, that I wanted to make sure every single detail was covered, was if we could do it in-house. So we bought the software programs that these other people use. And a young woman who loves to do computer work sat down, worked with the people that did the software, and figured out how to do the animations. So I have a person on staff that does animations for me of the wrecks that we do. But I sit there with her.
Not only are you there with her, but you have an investigative team also that gets you all of the information. So when you're building this video is based upon all facts from the vehicles, the speed, everything that's put into it.
You have to understand the video is worthless unless it can be admitted into court. So you have to show the court, the judge, that every detail of that video matches what really happened. That it's based on speeds. Like that is to scale. I'm going to show you that video again. The truck is to scale. In other words, it's like 1 in 50. The car is to scale. The roadway is to scale. Everything is exactly in proportion to the size of what was really, even the guardrail. Everything is
Wow.
exactly the way it would be. It's just brought down and made smaller for purposes of showing the speed, the relative speeds of the car and the truck are exactly the same as they would be in real life. And then once you can show a judge that all of that has been done and that this is accurate, then you can show it to a jury, and a jury can rely upon it to determine what happened. So I'm going to show you this animation in a minute, but I want to put it in perspective. A lady spun out on an interstate. For some reason, she was actually trying to miss a bag in the road. She spun out, hit a guardrail on one side, spun around and went into the fast lane, turned around in the other direction and blocked it. Her car was disabled. It was in a straight stretch that you could see easily 1,200 feet before you get to where she is from back here. Other cars started stopping. One car pulled off to the right across from her on the shoulder to see if she needed any help. Another one had pulled off on up further. This is from witnesses, and that's what you'll see in this video. So we knew we had a car in the straight across from her that was talking to her. We knew we had her sitting in her vehicle. We knew that another car had SUV had come by and pulled on up in front of it. And we knew that there was at least 1,200 foot of visibility for oncoming traffic to see this wreck had happened. My client saw it, and he was in a small Toyota Camry. He saw the wreck out there in front of him, and he started slowing down because he didn't know if someone was in the middle of the road. He didn't know because you could clearly see there was a wreck. He started slowing down. And just as he got to where the wreck happened, suddenly a truck hit him in the rear end and completely destroyed his car. It took the rear of his car and put it up into almost the front seat. He was hit that hard. The truck never slowed down, never did anything to prepare for that wreck in front of it. Now, how do you show that to a jury so that they can see what happened? Well, we've got an animation that we're going to put up that Sarah in my office prepared. The truck goes on another 1,200 feet before he actually comes to stop because he blows through this wreck at full speed and knocks my client. Can you play it again, Ronnie? Because folks might not have seen it. Here it comes. There's our client. There's my client. There's the truck that hit him. Goes on down and hits another car. The other car that was out front there. And then 1,200 feet on down the road, he finally comes to a stop. One more time so people can see. Here's our client coming up on the wreck, slowing down. There's the truck, comes through at full speed, hits another car as it goes down through there.
Now,
okay?
Now, Gary, first of all, let me compliment you that when you started talking about the wreck, you were in complete detail. You sat here and you explained to all of us everything that happened. I tried to visualize it in my mind, and you did as good a job as anybody could do. You had all the facts and everything. Mm-hmm. But when you showed the video, that was crystal clear. The video was able to show you exactly what happened, and everything that you said suddenly made sense.
And that's why it's so important that if you've got a case, and I'm hoping some lawyers may be watching this, that you go to the extra length to not only be able to explain what happened verbally, but visually as well. Because most of us absorb information visually rather than listening. How many of you in the room right now that have been accused, you don't ever listen? You don't know what I'm talking about. Because we don't learn from listening. Generally, most people don't. But we generally learn from visual. So in my office, we go to great lengths to create visuals. I showed you another animation last week of the actual surgery that this client went through.
Well,
Now, how would a jury ever know what this surgery, what he went through on the tape and what they did without a pictures and a video to show him?
before you get to the surgery, I want to ask this question because we may have viewers that watched last week's show that actually knows the results. But right now, for our new viewers this week, they're sitting here thinking, okay, you explained it, you showed the video, this is cut and dry, this is a lock of a case. I'm sure the insurance agency stepped up and said, here's all the insurance that is there and we're paying it because this video explains everything. You're not going to tell us they defended this, right?
Yes, they defended it. In fact, he had, my client hired an attorney before he fired that attorney about a year later that hired me. And they were vigorously defending the case because they had an expert say that my client probably stopped in the road there. And if he hadn't stopped in the road, that truck wouldn't have needed to slow down for that wreck. He could have barreled on through there and never caused any damage to anybody. Think about that.
That was the defense?
That was the defense on the liability, and that he was partially at fault because he pulled up there when he shouldn't have stopped and slowed down and maybe stopped. He didn't stop. There was no reason for him to stop, but they were saying he stopped. The truck driver, who wasn't even looking, said, oh yeah, I saw him stop, but nobody else did.
Now, I've picked up off of you telling us to do the prudent thing. The prudent thing to do was to slow down because you don't know what's going to be in the road, if someone's going to step out behind the vehicle, if someone's horribly injured. He did the right thing.
Well, my comeback was, so what if he did stop? The truck should have slowed down. There was a wreck out in front of him. He was 80,000 pounds, and he never hit the brake the first time.
Wow.
If he'd have slowed down, when he saw him 1,200 feet down the road, would he had to see it if he was looking? And our client did stop, he would have been able to stop. What difference did it make?
He had 1,200 feet
Yeah.
to do something and did nothing.
He could have stopped twice within that period of time. We did a video, actually, another animation that showed that had he started trying to slow down when he would have first saw the wreck, that he would have come to 2 complete stops before he ever got to this wreck scene. That's 70 miles an hour. Let's take a break and we'll come right back.
So it's obvious the driver of the truck was not watching, he wasn't looking, and he didn't even touch the brake. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk about the injuries and the surgeries, and believe it or not, the defense is going to try to keep defending. Gary has all the answers when we return with Simply the Law. Eastern Kentucky, southern West Virginia, and southwest Virginia. It can be a tough territory to reach when it comes to marketing. We can help. We can also help you find your identification. And we have plenty of services to do it and a lot of experience behind us, over 37 years. In fact, we've either booked or sold nearly $70 million in advertising in this region. You need a new voice, a new idea, a new concept? Casebolt Marketing. We're ready to go to work for you today. Our motto is nothing happens until you make it happen. So let's get started today. Welcome back into Simply the Law. All right, so you proved beyond a shadow of a doubt the truck driver didn't hit the brake. The gentleman, your client, horribly injured. I know our friends are thinking, how in the world is the insurance agency going to keep trying to defend this case? And he had severe damage done.
Well, it's simple. If you can shift the focus from the fact the truck ran over him, over here to my client's conduct and the fact that at some point in time he may have exaggerated how bad off he was because he was so scared because he had a 12-year-old son that he was solely responsible for feeding. And desperate people do desperate things. Now, if they can shift it over here to our client. So what did they do? They videoed him. They did surveillance. And they followed him around day and night for a couple of months. And lo and behold, they caught him getting a pontoon boat out and taking his son for a ride, his 12-year-old son, on a pontoon boat. And oh, that was awful that he could do that. Think about that.
Frivolous. Frivolous, right?
He also took his son to the amusement park so his son could go to the amusement park. And in his medical records, when he went to his doctor the next day, he told the doctor, he said, I took my son to the amusement park and I couldn't get out of bed the next morning. Period. I couldn't move. I was hurting so bad. But yet they had a video of him taking his son to, he didn't ride any rides or anything, he just took his son to the amusement park.
Trying to live, Gary, just trying to live life, trying to be human again, trying to be a father to your son.
Yeah. And then there was a thing where that he got hurting so bad that he smoked some marijuana because it was really helpful to him. So they started condemning him and slandering him for the fact he smoked some marijuana, which he didn't deny he did. So now you've got him going to an amusement park, going out on a pontoon boat, and smoke marijuana. And so they now are building a case to make a jury think he's not worthy as a person. Therefore, they can diminish the fact that they broke his back in 2 places and put him in constant pain for the rest of his life. And he was a delivery man for Lowe's. Never be able to do that again. Wasn't extremely intelligent, but he had a good, strong body that he was able to use to make a living. That's gone. Gone.
It now has screws and steel rods up and down the spine for the rest of his life.
Fused, the whole spine.
Yeah.
7 layers of his spine's fused together, and they can't even move.
You know what actually makes me so mad about this is, 1, they defended it, but 2, they tried to demoralize him. They tried to make him less than human and demoralize him in order to keep from paying him the money.
The thing that bothers me the most in a situation like this is this man was taking sole father custody of his son, was taking him to the babysitter so he could go to work. Okay, 12-year-old son. And I always said, God was in that vehicle. Boy didn't get hurt. Tore the vehicle all to pieces, and his son didn't get hurt.
Amazing, amazing to be alive.
Yeah, there had to be an angel in that car with that boy. Had to be.
Amazing to be alive.
But
And Gary, also, when you're under this kind of pressure, you're in pain, how long did this case go on with the other attorney before he finally said, I've got to come and get some help from you?
the other attorney had the case for over a year. I had it, once I got it, I had it resolved the way it should have been resolved, probably within 6 months.
So here's this man with the steel rods in the back, the physical pain, the mental pain of being demoralized and defended, and he has to go a whole year before he can finally come to you, and you, using the judo law method, realized what they were doing real quickly and got him the results he needed.
Yes, he was very pleased when I was done, because what little they were offering him before I got in the case, he could never take it. And that's all they were ever intending to pay those other people. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
You know, I think all of us at home are the same way. You always root for the good guys, and when every now and then the good guys come out on top, it makes you want to stand up and cheer.
One other thing. My client gave me permission to tell this story. I didn't just do it. This is not a breach of client confidentiality. He wanted his story told. And I told him I would put it on my TV show. So that's why we're doing this, okay?
And I think the reason why he wants it told is because there's so many times it doesn't turn out this way. I mean, there's a lot of people that get done wrong on this situation. Let's take a break. We'll take this time out. You watch this message. We'll be right back with Gary C. Johnson to close out this segment of Simply the Law.
Who really knows which lawyer you should choose? Other lawyers know. They've invited Gary C. Johnson to teach his method of judo law in Denver, Atlanta, New Orleans, and across the nation. Gary used judo law to set the record for the largest personal injury verdict in the history of Kentucky. Now, which lawyer should you choose? The choice is clear. Gary C. Johnson. Dial #HURT. This is an advertisement.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. The example that Gary has given us tonight, it could happen to any one of us in just a moment. We've just recently had some bad weather, Gary. It's that time again with snow and ice. We're traveling to Lexington for the UK ball games. Kids are going to school. There's a lot of traffic. This individual that had to come to you could easily be us.
Well, we changed his life. That's all that matters. Let's go to the computer. I want to talk to you about the numbers. In case any of you need to call us, there's the number, or you can just dial #HURT on your cell phone. Remember, we're in Lexington now. We have an office there. I've got actually 4 lawyers in that office, along with me most of the time, a lot of the time anymore, not most of the time. I'm still in Pikeville primarily. There's our webpage if you need to find us. And in general, I want to make sure I cover this with my friends. Please, this time of year, if you can afford it, look at your insurance policy and make sure you have underinsurance that will protect you and your family when the other person that hits you does not have enough insurance to cover your losses. Please do that. It is important. I cannot ever say it enough to you. I've had people come to my office and said, yes, I heard you say that, Gary. I just didn't get around to doing it. I said, well, could you afford it? They said, yes. I said, there is no excuse for you not having it. Your family needs it. You need it. It is the best insurance buy you can make. My friends, every week you hear this from me, and as long as I'm on this show, you'll hear it from me because this is that important that you have your underinsurance.
We've given you a lot of information this evening. I'm going to give you one more. Everybody's got that cell phone, right? You keep it with you. Go into your contacts and put in #HURT. #HURT. That's a direct call through to Gary C. Johnson. Put that into your contacts. That way, if you ever need him, you're going to be able to pull it up on your cell phone and hit it. #HURT. My friend, thank you so much. A lot of information, and it was amazing to see how this story ended. And this one ended on the good note, thanks to Gary C. Johnson. On behalf of Gary, I'm Keith Casebolt. We look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at this same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law, a program created by Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.